it's important to separate this case from all the others. You know, all the other cases are about challenging whether the Trump administration is doing the right thing, whether it's birthright citizenship or firing public employees. What's different about this Rhode Island case is that he has already ruled that the Trump administration was wrong to withhold these funds. And now he's saying they are not obeying my order to restore the funding. And so the issue in this case, which is really more important than the underlying issues about whether the money should be paid or not, is whether a federal court order should be followed. You know, going back to 1803 in the famous case of Marbury versus Madison, the Supreme Court said that it's the courts that ultimately decide, that have the last word on what is constitutional and what not. It's not up to the executive, it's not up to Congress, it's up to the court.
Which is not what J.D. Vance is saying.
Which is exactly what he is not saying, which is saying that, you know, the risk here is that the executive can just do what he wants without regard to the Constitution, and that is a situation we've never been in. I think you mentioned earlier, you know, when the Supreme Court told Richard Nixon in 1974 to turn over the White House tapes, he didn't want to do it, but he did it because the Supreme Court told him to. The Trump administration is appealing this order, which is certainly they have every right to do, but if the order stands and they defy it, we're in an area that we have literally never been in before.
Is there an enforcement mechanism in that case?
You know, I'm going to give you a ringing answer of I don't know. Because, yes, in theory, the answer is, you know, there is a contempt power that is enforceable by the United States Marshals, where the United States Marshals could go out, and their usual job is to enforce contempt, whether it means making someone show up to court. That's how it usually works.
Who runs the U.S. Marshals?
The Department of Justice. You think Pam Bondi is going to tell the Marshal Service to enforce an order against Donald Trump? And how does a court tell the President of the United States to, you know, to honor a judicial decision? I don't know how that would work. Could he impose fines? He's certainly not going to lock up the president. I mean, but it just shows what an unprecedented situation this is when you have at least the possibility, and also if you listen to what the president and vice president are saying, it certainly suggests that it's a real possibility that they'll simply ignore what a court says.